There is a specific kind of quiet that settles into a marriage when physical intimacy has died. And it is not a peaceful quiet. It is the silence of a room where someone has stopped breathing and no one is performing CPR. We have entire sections of bookstores dedicated to fixing this. We have therapists, podcasts, magazine articles, and well-meaning friends, all telling us the same things. Schedule a date night. Buy something that laces up the side. Reduce his stress. Reduce her stress. Communicate more. Communicate better. And marriages are still ending, not because of affairs, or finances, or fundamental incompatibility. Marriages are ending because one person stopped wanting to be touched, and the other person stopped knowing how to ask. I spent years inside that silence, not as a therapist, observing from the outside, as the wife, as the woman who kept saying not tonight until the words felt welded to my tongue. And what I learned about what was actually happening inside me, none of the magazines covered it. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 real reasons women disconnect from physical intimacy after marriage, not the sanitized versions, the versions I lived, the versions that, until I said them out loud, I didn't even admit to myself. Reason number 1 is something we almost never say aloud, because saying it makes us sound cruel. But here it is. Every time I was intimate with my husband, it felt like I was handing over a piece of myself that I did not have to spare. Not because he was aggressive, or demanding, or selfish. He wasn't any of those things. He was patient, and gentle, and he waited for me. And I still resented him for wanting what I supposedly wanted to give him. Here is the part one didn't understand for years. I resented him, not because he was taking too much, but because I had already given everything away to everyone else, and there was nothing left in the reserve. I gave my energy to the children before they even opened their eyes in the morning. I gave my patience to the boss, who sent emails at 7 p.m. I gave my attention to the friend who was going through another crisis. I gave my time to the parents who needed things, the house that needed maintenance, the calendar that needed managing. I gave, and I gave, and I gave, until I was hollowed out. And then my husband would approach me, wanting connection, wanting closeness, wanting the one thing I had not yet figured out how to give away. And I acted as if he were stealing from me. I acted as if he were the reason. I had nothing left. But he wasn't the one who emptied me. I emptied myself. I handed out all my currency, and then got angry when someone asked me to pay for something I wanted. The depletion was real, but the villain I assigned to it, that was fiction. Reason number 2 is self-punishment. And I want you to stay with me here, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. Most women, if we are standing in the harsh fluorescent light of total honesty, do not like ourselves very much. We don't feel good about our bodies. We don't feel good about our careers, our parenting, our friendships, the way we look in photographs, the way our skin is changing, the way we compare ourselves to women we pass on the street or scroll past on Instagram. We carry around this internal jury that is constantly deliberating, constantly issuing verdicts. And the verdict is almost always guilty. Not enough. Too much. Too loud. Too quiet. Too demanding. Not demanding enough. Failing. Falling behind. And when you live inside that kind of self-contempt, you do not believe you deserve pleasure. You don't believe you have earned the right to enjoyment. Sex, at its core, is designed to be pleasurable. That is literally its biological function. Pleasure is the incentive, But when you hate yourself, you reject the incentive. You refuse the reward. You deprive yourself of something good because deep down, you are convinced you haven't done anything to deserve something good. And here is the devastating part. You don't just deprive yourself. You deprive him too. He is standing there, wanting to give you pleasure, wanting to experience connection with you. And you are refusing both of you because you have decided you are not worthy of what he is offering. It was never about him. It was always about the war you were waging against yourself. And he was just the civilian casualty, standing too close to the battlefield. Reason number 3 is control. And I want to be very specific about what I mean here, because this is not about being organized or responsible, or having systems that keep your household running smoothly. This is about the slow, creeping rigidity that hardens inside many women as marriage progresses. Life becomes more complicated. There are more variables, more people depending on you, more things that could go wrong. And somewhere along the way, we start believing that if we can just manage everything tightly enough, we can prevent disaster. We manage the finances. We manage the schedules. We manage the groceries, the maintenance, the social obligations, the children's emotional development, the aging parents' medical appointments. We become the project managers of entire human lives. And then we walk into the bedroom, and our husband reaches for us, and we realize that to actually enjoy sex, to be present in it, to experience pleasure, we have to let go of management. We have to surrender the clipboard. We have to stop optimizing and auditing and tracking. We have to be vulnerable, which feels indistinguishable from being out of control. And that terrifies women who have spent years constructing their entire identity around being the one who holds everything together. So we say no. We say not tonight. We say I have too much on my mind. But what we are really saying is, I cannot afford to loosen my grip. If I let go for even 5 minutes, everything might shatter. And that is not a statement about physical intimacy. That is a statement about a woman who has convinced herself that she is the only thing holding the world together. She is not refusing sex. She is refusing to relinquish command. And as long as she believes that surrender equals collapse, she will stay rigid, and she will stay distant, and she will wonder why her husband feels more like an employee than a lover. Reason number 4 is that most women never actually learned to experience sexuality for themselves. We learn to perform it. From the very beginning, we were taught that sex is something we give, or something we do to keep someone interested. We learned what faces to make. We learned what sounds to make. We learned what to wear, how to move, what to say, what not to say. We learned from movies and magazines and the whispered advice of friends, who also had no idea what they were talking about. We became excellent actresses. We studied our scripts. We hit our marks. And we spent years, sometimes decades, having sex that was essentially a one-woman theatrical production, aimed at securing approval, affection, commitment. But we never stopped to ask ourselves the most basic question: what do I actually like? Not what does he like? Not what am I supposed to like? What do I, individually, uniquely, personally, find pleasurable? Most women cannot answer that question. We don't know our own bodies. We have never explored without an audience. We have never separated physical sensation from emotional validation. We have made sex this enormous, heavy, significance-laden event, when for men, it is often much simpler. They experience it as physical, pleasurable, direct. We attached so much meaning to it. Proof of love, proof of desirability, proof of commitment, proof that the marriage is still working, that we crushed it, under the weight of our own expectations. And then we blamed men for treating it too casually, when the truth is, they were experiencing it the way it was designed to be experienced, and we were overcomplicating it because we never learned the simple version for ourselves. Reason number 5. I delayed this one because I know how it lands, but I'm going to say it anyway. We have, over the course of years, systematically dismantled our husbands' masculinity and then blamed them for no longer being attractive to us. Let me say that again, because it is important, and it is painful, and it is true. We have weakened the men we married, not through infidelity, not through addiction, or abuse, or abandonment, through 1,000 small humiliations, administered daily. We correct them. We criticize how they load the dishwasher, how they fold laundry, how they interact with the children, how they drive, how they speak to service workers, how they dress, how they breathe. We communicate through our tone, our posture, our silences, that they're not doing it right, that they're not enough, that they have failed some unspoken test, that we are administering, but never announcing. We infantilize them. We manage them. We make decisions over their heads, and then inform them afterward. We treat them like children who need supervision, rather than partners who deserve respect. And then, after years of this slow, systematic erosion, we look at these men who used to make us feel alive, who used to make us feel desired, who used to stand tall and move through the world with confidence. And we feel nothing, worse than nothing. We feel repelled. We find them repulsive. We think they have let themselves go. We think they have given up. We do not see that we are the ones who took their armor, piece by piece, and then blamed them for being defenseless. And the reason we did it? This is the part that goes even deeper. The reason we emasculated them is because we could not face our own self-contempt. The harshness we directed at them was a projection. We looked at them and saw a reflection of everything we hated about ourselves. Our own inadequacy, our own failure to be the women we thought we should be, our own shame. It was too painful to hold that mirror up to our own face, so we handed it to him. We made him carry the ugliness we could not bear to see in ourselves. And then we blamed him for being ugly. I am not telling you any of this to assign blame. I am telling you this because I have lived inside every single one of these reasons. I have been the depleted woman. I have been the self-punisher. I have been the control addict. I have been the performer who never learned her own body. I have been the wife who slowly, unconsciously, weakened her husband and then wondered why she no longer desired him. I know this terrain intimately because I walked it for years, and I know that the way out exists. But it does not start where most people think it starts. It does not start with him changing. It does not start with couples therapy, or a vacation, or a new nightgown. It starts with you turning around and facing the woman you have been avoiding. It starts with asking yourself the questions you have never been willing to ask. What do I need to feel full? Not full of obligations. Not full of resentment. Not full of exhaustion. Who am I outside of everyone else's demands? It starts with catching the criticism before it leaves your mouth, swallowing the sigh, letting him load the dishwasher his way without it becoming a referendum on his worth. It starts with recognizing that sex is not something you give away, like a tip for good behavior. It is not something he takes from you, like a withdrawal from an account. you never replenished. It is something you get to participate in fully and freely when you finally decide that you are a woman who is capable of receiving pleasure. And it starts with something even more basic. It starts with stopping the depletion, stopping the self-punishment, stopping the relentless management, stopping the performance, stopping the emasculation, not because he deserves better, although he probably does, but because you deserve to stop living inside a body and a marriage that feels like a cage you built with your own hands. The marriage you want is not a fantasy. It is not reserved for other women who figured something out that you missed. It is available, but the math only changes when you stop trying to solve for him and start solving for you. That is not selfishness. That is the prerequisite for genuine intimacy. You cannot give what you do not possess. You cannot offer fullness from emptiness. You cannot invite someone into a home that you yourself have abandoned. If this video stirred something uncomfortable in you, I want you to know that discomfort is not punishment. It is an invitation. It is the part of you that still has enough life left to feel something. Do not bury it. Do not distract yourself from it. Sit with it. Let it teach you. And if you are willing to keep going, if you are ready to stop performing and start becoming, I want you to do two things right now. First, hit the like button so more couples who are suffering inside this silence can find this conversation. And second, if you have not already, subscribe to Dr. Julian. I release videos every week that do not flinch away from the hard truths, because the hard truths are the only ones that actually change anything. Thank you for staying with me through this. I know it was not easy, but the work worth doing never is. I will see you in the next